It is now my great honor to confer the Bicentennial Medals for 2023. These recipients were chosen with guidance by the Executive Committee of the Society of Alumni, and assisting me with the conferral will be Society President Brent Shea from the class of 1978. And as I read each citation, the medalist will come join me up here, and I'm going to begin with Philip O'Geyer from the class of 1970. So here's a radical notion. An interdependent world is ill-served when leadership develops independently. If the first time a leader encounters another culture or perspective is during a conversation on the red phone, we're all in trouble. You have made it your business to ensure that future leaders benefit from early, immersive, intercultural exposure. Not only government officials, but also people working in education, the arts, business, health, and many other fields. As co-founder and executive director of the Davis United World College Scholars Program, you've supported more than 13,000 students from 165 countries who've attended scores of United States universities and colleges, including Williams. It's the world's largest international scholarship program for undergraduates. Your work is transformative for these international scholars, to be sure. The chance for American students to meet their best and brightest international peers is every bit as impactful. You were also co-founder and longtime director of Projects for Peace, which funds peace-promoting summer initiatives around the world, conceived of and executed by college students. One of those summer projects has evolved into a respected international NGO, Reclaim Childhood, whose founders were honored last year at this very ceremony. You are a two-time Fulbright Scholar and have served in numerous leadership roles in international education and philanthropy. Without you, the world would no doubt be less integrated and the United States more isolated and American higher education significantly less diverse. In recognition of your distinguished achievement in education and advancing international understanding, Williams College is proud to honor you with its Bicentennial Medal. The Honorable Anita Earls, class of 1981. Living as a biracial child adopted into a biracial family, being a child in a family that integrated a previously all-white Seattle neighborhood, helping organize students at this college to combat South African apartheid. These experiences and many more informed your understanding of race and society. All of them contributed to your determination to devote your life to equality and to justice. In remarks after taking your oath as Associate Justice of the North Carolina Supreme Court, you said that even as a young girl, you came to believe that it was your responsibility to, quote, find a way to bring us all together, to show us all our shared humanity and guarantee equal opportunities to all. And so you litigated civil rights cases in the South, served as Deputy Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, and directed the Voting Rights Project at the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. Later, you founded and ran the nonprofit Southern Coalition for Social Justice. Through it all, you built a reputation as one of the most influential and successful civil rights litigators in the nation. You focused particularly on voting rights, including exceptional cases on racial gerrymandering and voter suppression. You built considerable prominence, too, in education and employment law, environmental justice, and police accountability. You also said at your 2019 swearing in that your personal commitment was, quote, to serve justice with a strong heart. That commitment is consistent with the way you've lived your entire life. In recognition of your distinguished achievement in promoting equity and justice through your work in law and government, Williams College is proud to honor you with its Bicentennial Medal. Rebecca Hiley, class of 1986. A refugee, forced at 11 to flee violence in your native Ethiopia, you and your family wound up in what must have seemed a rather unlikely place, Minnesota. Some might describe your subsequent life and career as unlikely too, but you've never allowed yourself to be limited by likelihoods. Hard work, an amazing family, and a keen mind took you to Williams, to Harvard Law, to a federal appeals court clerkship, and ultimately to Wall Street, where you helped build a leading mergers and acquisitions advisory firm. Eventually, after 25 years away, you returned to Ethiopia. You wrote a well-regarded memoir about what you lost there as a child and what you found as an adult. What you found was a generation whose potential could be unleashed, as yours was, through high-quality educational opportunities that unlocked every door. So you founded Ethiopia Education Initiatives, a nonprofit designed to unlock doors and then to shepherd hundreds of children through them to better futures for themselves and for the nation. EEI has opened Haile Manus Academy, a secondary boarding school for 400 girls and boys. You built the academy literally from nothing. You opened it nearly 3 years ago in the midst of a pandemic and much political and social upheaval. You're inviting Ethiopia's most promising students to come, analyze, and think critically, collaborate, and think creatively about Ethiopia's future. Back in the United States, you remain active in finance and serve also as board chair of Emily's List. But perhaps your most lasting contribution will be rejecting once again the idea of unlikelihood, this time not for yourself, but for Ethiopia. In recognition of your distinguished achievement in education, philanthropy, and helping to chart the future of a developing nation, Williams College is proud to honor you with its Bicentennial Medal. Robert Kim, class of 1992. The law governing equity in education is shifting rapidly these days. So rapidly that while completing a legal casebook, you joked recently that it's hard to, quote, type and delete at the same time. Fortunately, you're a multitasker. In addition to making pre-K through 12 education policy as a public servant and working to strengthen it as a litigator, you've devoted much of your career to explaining it. Not just to law students who read your casebooks, you also communicate with those on the front lines, teachers, principals, and anyone else who cares about education. You've written a book on Supreme Court cases every teacher needs to know, another one on legal principles that education students must understand. As a columnist for a well-regarded education periodical, you also provide context and insight into critical issues of the day. These include, just recently, efforts by some states to ban teachers from addressing important topics in the classroom. All this while working in the courthouses, government, and academia to advance equity in education. Among your roles, Deputy Assistant Secretary to the Office for Civil Rights in the Education Department, Staff Attorney at the American Civil Liberties Union, and Research Fellow at Rutgers University. Earlier this year, you accepted a new position as Executive Director of the respected Education Law Center, aiming, in your words, to expand its, quote, unparalleled record of advocacy for public school children across the nation. So it's really good for all of us that you are a multitasker. In recognition of your distinguished achievement in law, government, education, and advocacy for children, Williams College is proud to honor you with its Bicentennial Medal. And now I bring up two people, Robbie Bear and Matthew Swanson from the class of 1997. You are respectively the illustrator and author of critically acclaimed, very popular children's books. You are husband and wife. You are busy parents of 4 living in a hayloft on the eastern shore of Maryland. You are also commercial salmon fishers in Alaska, but that's a whole nother story. At the beginning of the last school year, you swept most of that aside. You packed your children and your wackadoodle dog Dumbles onto a converted school bus adorned with Robbie's brightly colored murals. You struck out on the Busload of Books tour. After 11 months and almost 45,000 miles and the acquisition in Utah of an additional wackadoodle dog, you visited Title I schools in every state and the District of Columbia. At each stop, you offered fun, interactive presentations to adoring and adorable students from low-income communities. You unleashed their creativity in writing and art. You stoked their love of reading. You gave away 150,000 books and 25,000 reading buddy teddy bears, making sure each child has something to own and cherish forever. Social media geniuses that you are, you took us along with you on your journey. We saw art plastering classroom walls, inspired by you. We saw the wildly inventive books that the students wrote and drew. We also saw many, many hugs, and inevitably the students showering your dogs with love, almost as much love as you showered on those students. Throughout your journey, you were ceaseless advocates for public education. You saluted hero teachers, librarians, and principals who do so much with so few resources. You collaborated on research to measure the effect of your school visits on literacy and creativity. You spotlighted the trauma, mental health issues, and other social concerns that kids must overcome just to learn effectively. Your journey may have been measured in miles. Its impact will be measured in open minds and expanded hearts. In recognition of your distinguished achievement in children's literature, education, and advocacy, Williams College is proud to honor you with its Bicentennial. So I just want to pause there and give a huge round of applause to all the medalists, if we could. Thank you.